Hard Hat's all about showing up to play hard, doing what it takes to win.
If you want to cement legacy, win another.
He's your third center.
You don't want to pump him up too much, but it's hard not to.
This is maybe the most I've ever agreed with you.
Hey, Bobby Manning here. Welcome to a Friday edition of the Garden Report from New York, where we're going to see Celtics Knicks tomorrow. Just got to the hotel here, and we got Law Murray standing by, watching all the NBA playoff action, man. I was so bummed when the Clippers, who you cover, went down, man. I was looking forward to seeing them go far, seeing you cover the whole thing, man, but still always good to talk Celtics with you here.
Hey, I'm here until we're not having games to cover and we're covering people's Instagram stories and whatever TMZ gets, I guess. So, I'm locked in.
So, how much have you followed this series, man? 2-0 Knicks. Pretty stunning to most people watching here. I've been stunned. Yeah, I'm among them. I thought this was going to be a sweep for the Celtics. I thought the regular season stuff we watched between these two teams would carry over. And certainly they had 20-point leads in both games, but the level to which they've capsized offensively, not just in this series, but into the playoffs in general, has been surprising to me.
Honestly, look, if these were games that ended after the third quarter, then there would be on their way to a sweep. It's crazy to see a team with that's accomplished what they've accomplished show how much better they are than the Knicks, only to pretty much give it all away in less than 15 to 20 minutes of game time. I had to go back and look at the Knicks game. I had a friend text me because I was actually doing a Saturday Night Live pod while the Knicks game was on. Game two, I'm like, yeah, they cool. But then she texts me and it's like, they choking again. I'm like, how though?
The exact
you gotta invent ways to lose games when you've established leads like that. When you're 20 points better than a team at any course of a game, that's significant because these teams aren't strangers. This isn't the regular season. We're not talking about back-to-backs. We're not talking about, I got the scouting report at 2:00 in the morning and I'm figuring out, do I care or not? You're trying to win a championship here. And, and you touched on it. It's been the offense. The defense, I think, has been perfectly fine for the Boston Celtics. It's something that I've always said that the strength of that team isn't just because they take a high volume of threes and whatnot. It's the fact that they, one, take care of the basketball, and two, defend at a high level. They create advantages where they are getting more shots up than you can match. And just watching back the game two collapse, the fact that it wasn't all threes. They missed about as many threes as they did shots inside the 3-point line. You look at right down to the very last possession. You got to switch, basically. You didn't call a timeout. You actually have a guy. It's like you would trust Jayson Tatum to create a good shot for either himself or his teammates if you got Mitchell Robinson matched up on you. That's no disrespect to Mitchell Robinson. If anything, credit Mitch Robinson for making Jayson Tatum at best indecisive, right? But, if you were to draw up a play coming out of a timeout, you'd probably say, hey, Jayson Tatum, it's you and the other team's backup center. Figure out something. You're down a point. Literally, if you get fouled and you split your free throws, it's a different outcome. And so that part's been shocking. The Celtics have gotten great shots. I go right back to Tatum. That corner three, that right corner three where he.
How did you feel about that? Because there's a lot of people saying you should have passed to Horford underneath. There's a lot of people saying you should have drove there. What do you think?
I bet you that a lot of people don't say a damn thing if he just makes a shot. We talk often. I covered the Nuggets Clippers series for that entire series, right? And a recurring theme of David Adelman before and after the games got going was if you create advantages, take advantage of that. Don't think that you're going to get another opportunity because you passed up a good look or because you beat someone on a drive and then you chose to back out or redrive and whatnot. It's hard to create advantages, especially against playoff defenses. You have to take advantage of it. Wide open in the corner, that is a shot everybody in the NBA, whether you're a good shooter or not, wants to be able to create or have for themselves. So what everybody's saying, all the second guessing, no one ain't saying anything if Jayson makes that one shot in particular. And I feel like Jayson Tatum is the type of player, he gets frustrated when he's not making shots, when he's not having offensive success.
You saw it in game one. I mean, he got back cut twice the other way on pretty decisive plays in that game, the OG one especially.
Yeah, so I hope that Jayson is accepting of and absorbing all the slander coming his way because they still have they can still do something about it. This was a Knicks team. Yeah, it wasn't the series didn't start at home. It's always worse when you lose your first 2 games at home of a series, but that Knicks team was up 2-0 last year in this same exact spot. You know, they had a chance to go up 3-0 with all the momentum in the world going into Indiana, and they messed it up. A lot of those dudes, obviously, the head coach is still there. They're going to have the support of Madison Square Garden behind them this time. But the Knicks lost 2 games at Madison Square Garden to the Detroit Pistons. You know, the Boston Celtics, it's really simple what they need to do, and that is, you know, find a way to finish the damn game. Just run through the tape. It's not about second guessing what you're doing. Like, if you're passing up that shot, Bobby, you're second guessing what you're doing. You're not putting you might get a layup out of it, but you're not playing the game the way you're supposed to play the game. Do what got you to lead. Do what got you in this position where you're the 2 seed, where you're the defending champ. Do those things and just be better at finishing the job. That's honestly what the conversation should be for the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, and we're going to talk it out. We're going to talk Tatum. We're going to talk their chances of coming back. We might have some other friends jump in here, but Lon Murray's holding it down right now. Always good catching up with you, man. The biggest reason I wanted you on here today was we talked a lot about the Celtics threes going back 4 years. Probably we've been podcasting together. It's always going to be a discussion when they're missing. 25 for 100 here. I went back and watched all of them from game 1. I watched most of them from game 2. I'd say it's about 50-50. Like 50% I love, 50%, half those 50%, so I guess 25% are like, all right, that's tough. But, you know, they're a tough shot-making team, so they'll make those sometimes. And then there are 25% where I say, not great. Not great. And so I don't look at the raw number. I look at like 60 in game 1. It's a lot. A lot of bad ones out of that, for sure, when you're thinking of a raw number. But then it went down to 40 the next game. And I'm thinking, like, do they hear the noise? Do they pass up shots now because they feel like they're not hitting them? Does it take them out of what they do? Because I think that could have been the story of game 2 potentially there. But are they taking too many threes? Are they taking good threes right now? Like, what do you see him?
Well, I see the guys taking a majority of threes as the 2 stars, and I don't like that shit. You know?
Okay.
I think that, I mean, look, Derek White takes the most threes of anyone in the series. He's not shooting it well, but it's Derek White, you know. I think Derek's main role in that offense is to just make the most happen. He's basically the main creator outside of the stars. So, but looking at Tatum, 20 of his 42 attempts in this series has been threes. Jaylen Brown, 17 of his 43 attempts have been threes. He hasn't been as bad as Jayson as far as the shot selection and getting to the line, but he also just hasn't been very successful in general. And I thought the biggest issue that I saw in game 2 with Jaylen is even when they were up, I think the third quarter ended and Jaylen had a 1-to-6 assist to turnover ratio. Like Jaylen Brown, the biggest flaw in his game is his decision-making and ball handling. Like he just, you know, has a real challenge taking care of the basketball, making plays at a level that like you can't play through Jaylen like you can play through Jayson. But Jayson has to find just a better shot selection. He has to put more pressure on the Knicks, like especially when Mitchell Robinson's not in the game. Like we said, our snap judgment of the New York Knicks defense was They got to hide multiple dudes, and they don't have the rim protection that is requisite of a team that helps to have a good defense with some of the guys that they have on
So
the floor
that's
together.
the thing too. Like situationally, you're up 20. You're saving off a comeback. There might be a better call, a better opportunity to stave off a comeback with twos, with attacking, with free throws, certainly. I mean, their free throw count in that first half in the first game was high. Then it just cratered in the second half, looking back on it specifically there. First half, they attempted 20 free throws, had Towns in foul trouble, had Brunson in foul trouble. Second half, 6 free throws. Towns ended up getting the 5 fouls, didn't foul out. Brunson got to 5 as well, I believe, by the end of it there, but didn't foul out. So, it's situational awareness. Like, guys are in foul trouble, you got to attack them in situations where you can draw fouls. Up 20, you probably don't need home run swings. And so, back to that Tatum play you mentioned, I am a little torn there because let's say he could pass it into Horford there and Horford just laid it in. I don't know if that's a certainty. There's a lot of what if there, but if that's certain, you probably do want to do that in that situation, overshooting the 3. But at that point, you're passing up 3s if you're Tatum.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You don't want to second guess. Like, what happened at the end of game 2? Jayson Tatum had his matchup. It's isolation. Mitchell Robinson. I'm not looking at the numbers right now. I would bet that Jayson Tatum was one of the highest volume ISO scorers in basketball this year. Okay. So that's how you won. You won with Jayson Tatum in isolation. Jayson Tatum was so indecisive that he veered from the paint, went up in the mid-range, and decided last minute, where's Jalen at to bail my ass out? That's how he turned the ball over. Like, he didn't feel confident going to the rim against Mitch Robinson. He didn't feel confident probably with a step back because that's how regulation ended in game 1. You had an advantage. You took a step back instead of attacking. So you decided to drive. You didn't feel confident in your mid-range. You felt like you were being defended too closely there. That would have been a tough shot. And then this floor was spaced horribly, so guys were able to collapse on you and force a turnover instead of you having an outlet. Like, the process of how that all went down and the fact that Joe trusted you without a timeout to actually put something together there, that's a failure.
What do you think of that decision?
Not to go timeout? Like, I feel like that's your best player one-on-one with a center. Like, Joe could have called a timeout. Look, he called a timeout at the end of regulation or at the end of overtime or whatever, and the ball gets thrown into Jaylen Brown, and what happened? Mikal Bridges took it away from him. Like, I mean, if Joe's got a great call, a great play, then whatever. But you can trust your guys, and we can hold those guys accountable too. Like, all calling a timeout doesn't do. If it doesn't work out, it's say you had a timeout, you could have used that. Well, if you called a timeout and you got the same thing, an ISO with a center, and it didn't work out, are you blaming Joe? You're probably blaming Joe even more just for the fact that, hey, it didn't work out. I put it on the players more than the coach. The coach could have saved the players' asses, but the game is played on the floor. I'm always going to say, what did the player do? Did the player put themselves in a position to take advantage of something? And, I mean, that was an advantage. I don't think the Knicks were ready to defend on that last possession, but they did a great job making the most of that situation. And you can't say that for the best player on the Boston Celtics. The ball was where it needed to be.
See, I felt that way when I first watched it, and I feel that way generally because you can't sub, and I think Brunson was out there at that point, so you go and you don't sub. But given that they ran the same play again from the same position on the floor, OG said after the game, we saw it coming. We saw that was the play from the play before, and the fact that they were able to blow it up there. And, the fact that, Tim Legwood did a great breakdown of it on SportsCenter after the game. They defended it further in the backcourt. So you couldn't cut off guys with a back screen there and, blow by them like they did when they were playing up on the previous play. And, that's something mid-play if you're Joe, you can see there. And I don't put it on Joe either. Like, I do think it's the players, and I think this is who they've been under Joe, is the players who are going to play this thing out. But I think when you see something, if you're Joe there, even the whole, fourth quarters, things are starting to slip away from them. They didn't use it or lose it timeout. They didn't use that last one there, even for a challenge or anything. So that one just disappeared. So 2 of your last 3 timeouts in that situation just boom, disappear. Never use them, can't take them in the next game. So I'm not a blame the coach guy, but the more I thought back about it and listened to Tim Legler talk about it and that sort of stuff, it was like, ooh, they probably should have ran something different from the front court in that situation. And what's the most damning thing is you have 13 seconds left and you don't even get a shot off. You should be able to get 2 shots off potentially.
I mean, that's back-to-back games where the game literally ends with Mikal Bridges taking the ball from a star. Like one of your 2 best players back-to-back. That's the most concerning. The Knicks clearly can play better. The Knicks did not play well through the first basically 30 minutes of both of these games and wound up coming away with wins. Mikal Bridges was 0 for 8 going into that fourth quarter of game 2. And that dude went from a place of not feeling great, not having confidence, to generating confidence both with his ability to score, as well as the fact that he contributed with a non-scoring play to help his team win a game in that big of a spot. Like, all I heard Mikal Bridges talk about after, like, the word that kept recurring in his post-game media availability was the confidence that his coaches and teammates put into him. And when you have an ending like that, that can translate to the next game. That should be what concerns the Celtics the most. That's where you're Joe Mazzulla. Yeah, you're probably using more timeouts in game 3 because you're going to need to coach. You're going to need to create opportunities where if you feel like your offense is slipping, and not just because of a results-oriented place, but even from a process of, I don't feel like Boston has, a super complicated process relative to other teams, but it's still like, if you see guys just taking too many jump shots that are contested, you probably need to nip it in the bud, even if it hasn't been a run that the Knicks are on. You need to be like, yo, like, touch the paint every now and again. You know what I mean? So that is my feedback for Joe Mazzulla. He's going to have to coach his ass off, even if we can't say it's his fault in the game 1 and the game 2. Now these players, they're going to need a lot more support in game 3 than they probably did in game 1 and game 2. If for nothing else, you are on the road.
There's those referees too. You lose, this season's over.
Yeah, like if you those referees, they were in a particular spot, right, where you were getting calls and you saw those calls evaporate. Those calls are going to be even harder to get. Understanding how Boston plays, understanding that arena. I can't wait to see who the crew chief is. You know what I'm saying?
Do we have it yet?
No, you're not going to get that until Saturday morning. But like the crew chief there, it's like you're going to have to play understanding that the referees are human and that they're in the moment too. And that they're not going to, if it's a borderline call, you're not going to get the call. You're not going to get the benefit of the doubt unless you play with force and intention and do that consistently. And clearly that hasn't been good enough for Boston to win these games. You need to complete games. That's the only thing. So Joe's he's got his work cut out for him now. And he's going to have to get these dudes to play focused basketball from the jump, not worry about 0-2 and to go from there.
Well, we got a surprise guest coming in here. I told you we might have a couple surprise guests here on the show right now, and one of them has arrived, so I'll bring her in a minute here. But first, I want to let you know about Prize Picks, our official sponsor here over on the Garden Report. Big reason we're able to travel and cover these playoff series and stuff like that are great sponsors like Prize Picks. So go over there and check it out. My favorite thing to do is just see what they think guys are going to do for any given game. You got Tatum and Brunson back in action tomorrow. Who's playing tonight? Pacers, Cavs. So Halliburton's back. Yeah, you got the other West Series there too, the Nuggets and Thunder, Shea, Jokic. Like I said, you can't go wrong going more in Jokic's stat projections, and that's what Prize Picks is, more or less on player projections, 2 or more, and you can win up to 2,000 times your cash over there all season long on Prize Picks, and it's the playoffs. This is your chance to add your favorite players from the court to your Prize Picks lineup, and whether it's points, rebounds, assists, take your pick of more or less for your shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash today. Cook up hot takes with your friends. You get the Takes to Ticket sweepstakes, where you and a +1 could get a VIP trip to the championship. That's throughout the playoffs that's going on over on Prize Picks. and it's the best place to win cash while watching sports, of course. Listen, I'd probably go Jokic tonight, along with Mitchell, with the Cavs season on the line. Go more on their scoring. Nuggets have a big game here as well. Mitchell, I feel good about the Cavs' chances tonight with some of their guys coming back. And Flex Friday today as well. So opt in, tap the checkbox in your lineup build to be eligible for the protected play. Choose squares from any game on the board. And if your lineup does not win, you get your net losses back in promo funds up to your promo limit as soon as your lineup settles. So that's today over on Prize Picks with some big games coming up here. So go over there and check it out. Use the code CLNS for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS. You get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup over there. Prize Picks, run your game. So without any more delay, let's bring in from NBC Sports Boston, Kayla Burton. Boom.
What's up? Surprise.
Hello.
Kayla, do you know Law?
Law, what's going on? I haven't officially met you, right? I'd be embarrassed.
We haven't met, but I've definitely, you were at NFL for a bit, right?
Yeah, I was at NFL Network for a couple of years and then went to ESPN doing sideline reporting for college football and then here. So nice to officially meet you here.
Yeah, good to meet you.
We're bringing people together.
Yeah, Bobby, I don't know if you know, I was at NFL for parts of 3 seasons. I was a researcher there, 14, 15, and 16 before I went to ESPN.
Were you really?
Yeah, I was on that research staff. So I don't think we intersected, but obviously.
Let me tell you something about that research team. That research staff is one of the most hardest working crew. And, all the people that are on air, like myself there at the time, you would just hit up the research team hey, can you get this nugget? It's like Chat GPT, but better.
Before Chat.
Better. We use customer service.
Yeah, and you guys are actually working hard, and it's not a computerized thing. So shout out to you because that research is it's amazing. And hey, I have one question for both of you. So we're not blaming Bobby. I'll start with you. We're not blaming Coach Mazzulla, huh? We don't blame the coaches.
I don't really blame the coach often, but I'll throw a little blame his way.
No, I'm with you on that. When I'm listening to the media and listening to just reading different articles and everything, I'm not one to blame the coach either. I think it's the players are out there playing. They have to be the one with the ball in their hands, creating and making things happen and come to life. It is on the coach. Joe Mazzulla will say this one's on me. He's a head coach. He's going to say this is on me and setting your guys up in the right position. That's if I am to cast any blame at all, it's there. It's a lot of people were arguing about the timeout call or no timeout. Do you call the timeout, advance the ball? Because the thing about me, I didn't really mind the no timeout call in that situation. You just saw Jayson Tatum explode down the court in less than however many seconds and get that dunk just a couple plays before. And so you're like, okay, I'm going to put the ball in my guy's hand and go do exactly what he just did. Now, to do that same play, the Knicks are smart enough defensively to not allow that to happen. So I don't mind the no timeout call. What I do mind, and excuse me to just come in here and start.
I love it.
Okay. I'm like, you steer the ship. I just came in hot. But I will say this. I don't mind the no timeout call. What I do mind is the pace. You have 12 seconds left on the clock. And if you look at Jayson Tatum, I get, you have one shot to really take, but you guys just said it.
You got to get 2.
Scenario for maybe 2, because you don't know if that one is going to break down like it did. Why are you kind of jogging up the ball? Are you jogging because you're reading the defense and saying, okay, you see Al Horford fighting for his life to set that screen, and Jayson Tatum almost loses the ball a little bit when he goes back left. But needless to say, push the ball up to the half court and then get the play going with 10 seconds left, 11 seconds left, or 9. And if that play breaks down, you have an opportunity for one more. So.
And that's Joe's approach in those situations. He talks about it all the time. Tie game, you can go for a 3. Just don't let them get a shot the other way. Down in a game, you need to get 2 shots in that situation. And that's, he's always talking about efficiency. He's always talking about analytics. having 2 shots for 2 points is a really good chance there. And they're a great offensive rebounding team. And that's the one thing you look at in the series so far. First game, they dominate the offensive glass. I think it came out to 19-12 in that game. And then this one, I want to say they had the advantage in that area too, 16-10. So they've been offensive rebounding all series. Give yourself a chance there. You don't even give yourself 1 shot. And that's the real frustration. In 2 straight games with a chance to win or tie the game, you don't even give yourself a shot. You don't even give yourself a chance to get to the free throw line. You don't even give yourself any chance of an offensive rebound there. And that's tough. And I do think a little bit of a blame goes on the coach in that situation, especially with that much time to see it breaking down. Like, well, I know you don't want to call a timeout mid-play often, but there are situations for it when you see him losing the ball with his left hand there.
Yeah. It's I look at this series too, though. They're going to need. I really wonder how healthy Kristaps Porzingis is. Like we
got to get to that. We got an update today as well, by the way.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what that update is, because the thing with Boston's personnel is a playoff series can cancel dudes, right? Like, and then you're overextending your stars, or you're overextending guys like Al and Drew, who probably you don't love when they're playing 35 to 40 minutes in the game, approaching that. Like, they need some, like, Mitchell Robinson should not be the best source of success in these Knicks lineups. But I mean, all Mitch has to do is do his job. Like, there's not a lot of balance in what the Celtics offense is looking like. You don't have an interior presence right now, outside of a drive or whatever. So they don't need Kristaps to just be there participating. We saw that in game 2. They need him playing well, and they need that relief for Al.
12 minutes for Al in the fourth quarter. I don't know when the last time we saw that was.
You can't do that to him.
Ideal.
Like you were saying about the corner 3, it's like, pass it to Al. What guarantee Al gonna make a layup? You know,
that's what I'm saying? How I felt. Yeah, like even with Jalen Brunson on the ground there, it's like, ooh, he's been missing 2s all game. Horford had. So exactly. Yeah, you really overextended him. You don't want to continue to do that in this series. In a series, it's probably going to go 6-7 games now if you're going to win it, or it has to at this point. So yeah, they got to figure out a way that they can get some relief minutes there. And the scary thing is with Kristaps is it just doesn't seem like he can fill extended minutes at this point. 5 minutes in the first half, then he goes to a longer stint in the second half. This is what we got today. Well, first off, we got the injury report and he's not on it, so he'll be available tomorrow. This is what we got from Shams today. I'll pull it up here. Said, my understanding, lingering side effects from the March virus, which Porzingis said the other night, sapped his energy, drained him, had to rely on getting more sleep the last few months, takes IVs, immune boosters, haven't been able to completely identify which virus specifically. Now, Joe said on the radio today they do know what virus it is, even though he didn't name it specifically. I know you listened to that, Kayla, today on 98.5. This is the most concerning thing. Like, being down 2-0 is one thing. Being down 2-0 with your starting center and a guy that you need to contribute in this situation is by far the biggest concern. And Sam Hauser's doubtful now again for this game as well. So there's another rotation guy you're down. Where are you at on Porzingis, Kayla? How concerned are you about that?
Yeah, I'm concerned. I'm concerned because I think this is the Kristaps Porzingis the Celtics are going to get throughout however far they make it. I don't think things change. I don't think he just doesn't look himself. He doesn't look himself. I don't know what it is. I'm not going to sit here and guess diagnosis.
I do have some sound from him in March that I'll play in a second here, him talking about what it was, but keep going.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, he doesn't, he coming. I mean, maybe we're over analyzing because we know that he's dealing with something, but him walking into the tunnel, he doesn't look like his peppy, having the cappuccino espresso ready to rock kind of KP, coming in and hyping up the crowd. Like, he hasn't been doing that. And that's the crowd feeds off his energy. He feeds off of the crowd's energy. You did see a couple of dunks. You're like, okay, maybe he's going to be in better shape and whatnot. But there's definitely an illness that's going on. I mean, is pretty candid about it after the game. He was like, I'm just not myself. I'm not feeling myself. He's coming off the bench. So look, I think if you're the Celtics, you have to understand, you almost have to play like he's not going to play, like he's not going to be a factor.
Maybe you don't play him if he's not going to be effective. And you hate to say it, right? Because I'm sure he wants to be out there and I'm sure he wants to do what he can.
The only reason why I say maybe
right.
play him a little is to give Al some breaks, because I don't know. Sure, you can get to Nini, throw in. I think we should
a little
see
more Cornette.
Luke Cornett minutes. Like Luke Cornett's been solid.
He's been good.
He's been really, really good in the minutes that he's been in. And I say use that. I'm looking at the stat plus 11. I know some people are big or not big on the plus minus, but at plus 11, 6 points.
He was great in game 2. Game 1 was hit or miss with the fouls, but
right. But he let him get into a rhythm, let him kind of find his groove, and he's healthier. Like you need someone who has the energy and the stigma, because when Joe said this morning on 98.5, the Sports Hub, he's feeling, KP is feeling fatigued and his breathing isn't on point. That's concerning. That's definitely, because you're in the, we're in the playoffs now. So and then I'll be quiet about this, but it is concerning too, because it's not like the regular season where KP is trying to rest and wait for the postseason. This is it. This is
every other night
that they have worked for. And now they're down 0-2. So, and Kristaps, all these guys, if they are somewhat available and know they can play, will not be on that injury report list, just like he hasn't, just like he's not on. So I expect him to use some minutes, but I think this is going to be a good test for Joe Mazzulla to see, okay, like how many minutes you actually utilize him. Is he a benefit or a detriment to this team?
And you should figure that out early. Yeah. See how he does in that first stint and then get away from him if it's not going well. And again, it's tough, but it's the playoffs. You got to make tough decisions like that in this moment. And he can space the floor, which is something they need right now, certainly. So I do agree with you, Kayla, that they should at least try it to begin this next game here. Here he is in March. This was from Brooklyn, the first game he was back here. From the illness after missing 8 straight games, talking about what it was, because I see a lot of people speculating now, like, what was it? What is it? Is it something serious here?
Are they treating him like Mel Clark in Angels in the Outfield, man?
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's been bad. But yeah, here's Porzingis from March talking about his illness.
Yeah, it was extremely frustrating, just not knowing what I had, and there's at the end it was some sort of, I don't know exactly, but I think it was some sort of like upper respiratory thing that turned into like something heavier, like bronchitis is the word, something like that along those lines. But I was really like, I haven't been this sick for probably ever in my life, so I was really like for a week, really just laying at home, trying to recover. And after that, I still had like lingering fatigue, and I still have it a little bit, but at least I'm now getting into more or less shape to be able to play. But yeah, it was after each workout, I was boom, big crash. I was really fatigued, like not normal. And so yeah, it's taking a little bit longer, but I'm doing everything, like all my biohacking stuff that I know, and just trying to get back in the best shape possible. You said that.
All right.
Yikes.
So yeah, he said it was a bronchitis. I'm sure it's kind of like a post-viral thing right now. I'd imagine. Who knows? Maybe it's not related to that previous one, because he was playing regular minutes. He hit 8 threes in MSG in April. Like, this guy was doing his thing for a while here. Even in the first round, he was struggling, but it didn't look fatigue or illness related. It was just him missing shots. So yeah, this is a game changer right now. This guy is someone you need to spread out this defense, make Towns get out to the perimeter, post up smaller guys. And that was the most concerning thing, right? Is they put Bridges on him and he could not beat Bridges.
Yeah. I also look at the team that they were at this point last year. You remember they didn't have Kristaps Porzingis for 2 entire rounds, basically, almost 3 rounds, because of when he got hurt in the finals, in Miami.
Miami.
There's the finals, but yeah, he played 4 games of that series, but he wound up getting hurt in game 4. He didn't play in the clincher. So I just look at this team, man. They have enough to we're just going to keep going back to they built 20-point leads in back-to-back second halves and just forgot how to play basketball after that. And it's
That's the
their
thing
offense
right now. Like,
you're
not going into this game tomorrow and being like, can they win? Like, it's going to be tough to win this. Like, they can clearly win this game.
It's mental,
up 20.
man.
It's the mental
like,
part of it at this
it's
point.
complacency. It's just playing. Like, I just feel like the pace when they're up 20, hopefully the Celtics are looking at themselves, and if they're up 20 or 15, whatever it is.
What's the thinking there, Kayla? Because it happens over and over and over again. They slow down
honestly
with the
at the
lead.
TD Garden, even just being there, Bobby, you were there. Law, I don't know if you were physically there, but you could feel like
I saw the Clippers get smacked in the TD Garden. That was my one visit this year. They ain't had nothing to worry about. They built a 20-point lead and was like, what if we built another 20-point lead on top of that?
Oh my God.
They did.
That's what that was.
Yep.
But when they started missing threes, right? The crowd was, oh, like you can hear it. And I think like I feel like the player that kind of started to get into their head a little bit. I will say the oohs and ahs are validated when you just heard Isaiah Thomas say, go for twos. I don't know. It's like trending right now, but go for twos. Like, don't settle for the three. This is a 3-point shooting team. I'm cool with them taking their open threes.
It's who they are.
And that's fine. I support it. If you're open, when you were taught in middle school, what did your coach say? Whatever. You're open, shoot it. Shoot or shoot. Keep shooting. So it's not like they're going to say stop shooting. I will say quality shots and reading the defense, and also reading the realism, right? Like if you're not hitting threes, if I'm like 0 for 8, I'll still take open shots. They should still take open shots, but there could be a better look. And for me, it's seeing them get into the paint. That is what I want to see from the Celtics. Like I went back and I looked at the tape and I counted how many times each quarter they got into the paint. And it was 21 in the first, 20 in the second, 15 in the third, 14 in the fourth. So, and I'm not saying score in the paint. I'm not saying like you have to score in the paint, but get into the paint. The Knicks did such a great job. Brunson does an incredible job doing this, going downhill, getting into the paint. The defense collapses. He kicks out. They do that extra pass, or he goes all the way. And I think the Celtics up 20, they started to get away from that. They started to just go, bop, bop, let me shoot. And then the Knicks went on their 8-0 run. And then the worst thing was for the Celtics in the fourth quarter, guys, they had 14 straight missed field goals, 14 straight missed shots. And the Knicks are going to be like, bet, miss, we'll sprint in transition. And that's what they did. They created in transition, and they went on a 21-2 run in the fourth. So no crap that they're going to come back down from 20. You can't hit it.
I know, and that's where I get to the timeout thing. It's like somewhere along that run of 14 straight misses, you have to stop things and make an adjustment. And, do a lot like what we talk about with the threes here. There's a long sample size where you're expecting that to turn around. That's what Missoula talks about, right? Like it's gonna come up, from 25% here. But do you have time for that? What if you have one more bad shooting game here in front of you, and now you're down 3-0? Like that's the playoffs. There's not time for that stuff to turn around. So especially with a big lead, you just need points. And he talks about it too. Best shot, and the best shot might not be a tough three, a slightly contested three, one with a little bit of space, but guys are closing out fast. And that's where I get stuck with some of the tracking stuff, like open versus wide open versus contested. Like it's almost like they don't want to call anything.
You got to do what Kayla did. You just got to watch it back, and go from there. Like we can look at what Second Spectrum says or what the box score says. And the job of a coach is to maintain the capacity to feel how a game is going, how the momentum might be shifting, and to nip it in the bud, which that's always been.
And that's why I hate them following Robinson, because what are you doing with that? You're slowing the game even more down.
It's letting them set their defense up, and getting the rest that they need to put out maximum effort, which they need more than you because they're the team that's down.
Yep.
Like the Knicks haven't been leading a majority of this series. Like, if they're the team down, like, what are you doing? Like, you need to you need to keep playing basketball. Like I'm so fascinated by this game 3. Ain't nobody asked to see me
Let's
tomorrow.
get into it.
I'll be watching undistracted.
Look, I'm the most wanted right now in New York.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I'm not headed out that way. I'm going to be here in studio.
So
I will say,
how are you feeling, Kayla, going into this one?
for me or the Celtics.
You.
Oh, I feel ready to rock. I'm like, look, I think the Celtics are still the Celtics. Okay, it's not like the Knicks are winning by 20. And here's where I will say the Knicks are a freaking great team. They are a great team. I'm not here to say the Knicks are
better than I expected, for sure.
They're still the same team that got swept by the Celtics 4 straight games in the regular season, but they're a good playoff team right now. I think 2 things can be true. I think the Celtics are the better team. I think that they have the depth, they have the skill level, they have the right guys, the right roster. I still think right now the Knicks are playing better. They're playing hungrier. They're playing smarter. They're playing with pace. And whether or not you're the better team or whoever, if you have that dog mentality, if you have that, I'm going to stay hungry and I'm going to keep making plays, which is what the Knicks are doing, and capitalizing off of the Celtics turnovers and missed shots. Like, that's the team that's going to come out on top. And Joe Mazzulla said this morning. They had 11 live ball turnovers. And it's like, that's kind of uncharacteristic. You see Jaylen Brown mishandling the ball at times. And look, stuff is going to happen. That will happen. But for Jayson Tatum to only, your superstar player, who is a superstar, to only have 2 points in the first half, and then the Jays combined for 4 points in the fourth quarter, is you're not going to win games again. Teams are coming after you specifically because you're the defending champs. So they're going to give everything they got to take you down, let alone they're chasing a title themselves. And so I just think that, the superstar players have to be better. They just have to, especially when you got Sam Hauser, some of your guys coming off the bench like Sam.
That's what scares me most, is that you're losing a couple guys now. Jalen's hurt too. Like, he's dealing with the knee thing there. And that stuff can just creep up, along with maybe fatigue for Horford at this point, and undermine that comeback attempt, because I do feel like the shooting is going to turn around. Like, I do think that's going to be a factor here in New York. And so they can count on that. But
they went 25 for 100. It has to turn around the past 2 games.
To some degree, right? And when you're losing by 3 and losing by 1, like, even a small, tick upward would help a ton there. They really only needed 1 shot down the stretch of that game to put it away. And the Tatum one that Law and I talked about earlier was the big one there, wide open in the corner. You just have to hit that. And, going back and looking at all these shots, I don't have a problem with a ton of them. So what I'd rather see is them continue to take them and hope that they start to go in, rather than get outside themselves or start to doubt the game plan a little bit or try to do too much. I think that's where the turnovers come from, Kayla, too, is, trying to dribble around, do too much, and force the issue inside, because the Knicks are packing the paint a lot. And that's where I get a little worried. Like, let's say
they're packing the paint because who's their head coach? What has Tom Thibodeau's teams always done? Like, the reason why Boston beat the holy hell out of New York in the regular season is because it's a clash of styles where, the Knicks are a team that will permit you to shoot threes, and the Celtics have the lowest paint. Like, they rely on the paint less than any team in the NBA.
When you get to the free throw line, never.
Yeah, when you're getting those shots and you're hitting them at just an average rate, like, these are blowouts. And so do you change your identity because you miss shots and whatnot? No, I think the bigger concern is what y'all have brought up. They are not taking care of the basketball and winning possession battles like they should be. When you turn the ball over at will against a team you have no business turning the ball over against, that's where the focus should be. Being more secure with the ball, being more decisive. If they miss a bunch of threes, then that's one thing. But, they need to just trust that they can handle the ball better. And that's where it's like, continue to get more shots on goal. If they're threes, if they're layups, they can't overreact to missed shots, and they can't let those missed shots affect them executing on the other end as well.
It's a big defensive breakdowns late in these games, certainly here. And if I'm pulling up the series stats here in terms of, all these different battles, Celtics winning the turnover battle slightly. The shooting, man. Wow. Like 42 effective, that's bad. And then, you're getting your offensive rebounds and even winning the free throw battle. Like that shit, like could you imagine saying going through 2 games that the Celtics would be this
because of
high
their
up in the free
defense.
throw battle?
Because
Yeah.
it's because of their defense. Like
Right.
I
They're not
don't
fouling.
I don't give the Celtics offense any credit whatsoever for their series. I think they've failed on that end of the floor, but like they understand who not to put on the line at least. I think they've done a decent job of that. Like Cat has had an interesting series in that regard.
Cat
it's funny.
shot 1-3.
Yeah, like the next 3 Cat makes in this series will be this will be his first. Like those things. Again, if you're Boston, it's like, look, continue to play the defense that you're playing. Take better care of the ball, and the ball will find some energy. It'll come around. Like you got up by 20. That's not your issue. Your issue is finishing these games.
Yeah.
Maybe what Joe Mazzulla needs to do is find some other guys that need to play in this series. If you want to chalk this up to fatigue, I think guys have played hard. If you want to chalk this up to fatigue, figure out what more he can do.
I was going to go there, Kayla, because to me, the beauty of this team has been how these other guys help out Brown and Tatum. Like if this is just going to all be on Brown and Tatum, I think it's a wrap because there's just so much pressure on them right now. Defensively, OG's all over Tatum. He only got one shot off.
Great defensively.
Tatum got one shot off against OG last game in like 30 possessions, which is insane. Brown, we know the physical limitations there. So, White, I think is just catching the ball, catching grenades and tossing it up right now.
I think White though is playing like one. He's probably the best Celtics player right now in this series right now. Like
I'd utilize him more.
Every little thing and White, hats off to you. Like he's got to keep doing his thing because 20 points, he had 9 boards, 5 dimes, couple of blocks. Like he's trying to, and that's just who he is. Derek White is all over. Drew Holiday.
He has more points per game than Tatum right now, White.
Which is nuts. So I think, look, realistically, Jayson Tatum just has to play better. Jaylen Brown has to continue to play. Jaylen Brown actually had a good start and good first half and then, kind of got away from it. But then because of the lack of health now, and I'm not blaming the whole Celtics on their lack of health. There's 2 guys, there's Kristaps, Porzingis, and Sam Hauser that are really not themselves. Sam's out basically, and then Kristaps is not feeling great. But the other, like Al Horford, these guys, like he only had 4 points. He has to hit. He's playing more minutes. It's harder, especially, and God forbid we say his age, but with him being his age and what he's doing, like it is inevitably. But he does the little things. He just needs to hit those top of the key threes or corner threes, maybe earlier in the game. And then guys like Peyton Pritchard have to have big nights. Like the guys coming off.
I'd love to see more Pritchard. I would.
I know.
He's the best 3-point shooter right now at 35.7% in this series.
Which, by the way, Jayson Tatum has carried this team through the regular season. Like he is a great, great player. He has not been playing like it in this series. For Jayson Tatum to get to the free throw line once and it being with under a minute to go in the game, unacceptable. Like he needs to get to the line. They need to, and this team needs to get to the line. But credit to OG Anunoby, credit to the Knicks defense. The way defensively that these guys are guarding the Celtics and playing with a different intensity, and then the Celtics missing all these shots, they're getting it, kicking out, go. Like, and then transition defense for the Celtics, they're scrambling. Where do I get Brunson? Do I get Hart? Do I get Bridges? Bridges having 0 points and erupting for 14 in the fourth quarter alone. You gotta, things have to make sense for the Celtics if they want to stay within this fight.
Well, I'll ask you this, Law, because the three's not there for them right now. The Knicks are packing the paint. What can you do? Where do you go? Do you go to the mid-range? They did that a little bit last game, and it didn't look great.
You have to hit threes. You have to hit. I'm going to
tell you. You have to hit threes.
You have to hit threes. But if you're not, let's say you see the same thing that we just saw in the past 2 games. Get into the paint, drive,
and run.
Get to the free throw line. If you are not, you can still take threes. Hit the threes. Yep. If you're not hitting the threes, find a way to work it in and out. And the one thing about the Celtics, for every great basketball team, if you work it inside, work it out, do that one extra pass. Boom. There's something about a flow. And Law, you said this. It's you can read all the stats, but when you're there and you're on the court and you're feeling it, and that extra pass, this is going in. Boom. And then that creates momentum. And I feel like the Celtics haven't been able to find that momentum. They did a little at one point, but to really just in transition, kick it out, and then rotate the ball in and out to get a great three. At least there's juice and momentum. And even if you miss the three, they're like, oh, I'm going to get that next one. There's a feel to it that I feel like the Celtics aren't playing with.
I haven't seen enough of that.
So here's why I am not tripping about the threes as much, especially after game 2. Because like I said, they missed 23 out of their last 28 shots in game 2. And there was an equal split of they attempted 14 threes and they attempted 14 shots inside the arc. It's an equal opportunity offensive ineptitude. Tatum has missed 7 out of 8 non-paint twos in this series. Think about that. That is a star player who has the license to take shots that I think people who complain about analytics, they complain about guys not being permitted to take certain shots on the floor, right? But that does not apply to star players. It just doesn't. Even James Harden was like, I was allowed to take mid-range shots. These other dudes weren't. Jayson Tatum is allowed to take any shot. He has missed 7 out of 8 non-paint twos. He's missed 6 out of 7 shots in the paint outside the restricted area in this series. And that's, Kayla has talked about him not getting to the free throw line. Some of us think you're a top 5 guy, Jayson Tatum. So if you're going to be a top 5 guy, you need to score like a top 5 guy. If you're going to be limited to only taking pull-up threes and flailing and looking for Jalen, then
and that's why I
the season will be over a week from today.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't a Joe thing. This is a Tatum thing at the end of the day. He's just not meeting the moment right now. And Kayla, as we look ahead here to game 3, I'll say this, and this isn't me being a homer or anything. I'm the furthest thing from it here. I've seen them in this situation before, Milwaukee 3-2, Heat 3-0. They're down 3-2 in the Philly series 2023. They've been down in a similar situation to this before, looking really dire. And Tatum's pulled out of it. He's pulled out of shooting struggles. He's turned this team around when they've been in big holes. And just hearing him at practice the other day, Kayla, you were there. I don't think that was bluster. That was him remaining confident and saying, we're going to turn this thing around. Horford, he's been in these battles. Brown, they've been here before. So nothing about going on the road or being in an 0-2 hole or shooting poor. That stuff doesn't concern me with them. The injury and illness stuff concerns me because they might just not have enough physically right now to get through this series. But in terms of their ability to make adjustments and turn this thing around and make it go 6-7 games, I feel pretty good about that right now. I think the series is going 7 games. I don't know who will win that 7th game because I want to see who's left at that point if both these teams are just going to be beating each other up the whole way. So that's where I'm at. Where are you at, Kayla, right now in terms of where these things are?
They have to win 4 out of the next 5, out of the last 5. So it's they really got, they got their work cut out for them for sure. I don't think that this is an easy situation because this is not, the Knicks are not the team that the Celtics swept in the regular season. They're playing good basketball right now, the Knicks. And they're like I said before, they're capitalizing off of all of the Celtics mistakes. And I feel good. So that's weird for me to be like, oh, I feel great about the Celtics. Now, I don't feel great about them. I feel strong that one, how they play on the road. Okay. 2, they love playing at MSG. Jayson Tatum is known to play good basketball in that arena. And it's going to be loud. Knicks fans are going to go nuts. They already are going nuts, and rightfully so, just like Boston fans do. So they're going to have their work cut out for them at MSG. But I just think the Celtics know going down 3-0 in this series, that is it can't. They're telling themselves
it can't happen. You're done. You're done
at that point. I think Jayson Tatum, I think he steps up. If the 3 ball doesn't look good, I think he finds other ways. He knows to get to the line. He knows how to make adjustments. And if he doesn't do that, then I would not have high hopes for the Celtics. But I do think, and Law, you said this, they have to close out quarters. Like when you're up 20, it was like 3 minutes to go in that third quarter. 3 minutes. And it's like when you don't close out quarters, that's an issue. And so from start to finish, whether you're up 20, whether you're up 30, whether you're up 15, 5, etc., like they have to find ways to put their foot on the gas and keep this thing going and not slow down. And that's what they've been doing. They've been taking their foot off, and then the Knicks just making their runs. So,
well, where do you see the series going?
I mean, I expect Boston to win it. I expect them to at least win game 3 and figure out a way to regain control of the series one way or the other. It might take 6 or 7, but because of what happened in the regular season, because they're up 20 in both of these games, Boston understands that they can outplay the Knicks. I mean, that's half the battle. The other half is actually just completing the games. It takes one game to say, all right, cool, we got momentum. You build off of that, you go home if you can tie the series 2-2. If you're down 3-1, you got to win 3 straight. And again, they've shown that they can beat the Knicks. They showed in these games that they can beat.
You're up 20 in each game. That gives me more confidence than anything else, is that you could get to that position. It's not like there's any doubt about their ability to watch it. Yeah.
It's the confidence now. And some of those vets, it's not really on them. It's about Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum. It's your best players.
I think Holiday's played well. White's played well.
Right. You've executed your defense. It's a matter of, can your best players, get their head out of their asses long enough to win a game or two? And you want to talk about threes? They're not creating corner threes. The Knicks are doing a good job saying you can shoot the threes that we want you to shoot. The Boston's not getting easy shots. So if this is going to be a tough shot making series, then ask your tough shot makers to make some damn tough shots and to play through the game.
Or make easy shots.
Yeah.
They've gotten a lot of easy shots.
Yeah.
So we will see. The one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to let the Knicks get some real
they haven't shot well either, right?
Exactly. Start the games like you've started the games. Like continue to trust in what you've done to create advantages. And it's just a matter of managing the games once you have that advantage. Like if Boston loses belief in what they're doing to the point where they start doing different shit, they won't win the series, and they will not deserve to win the series. So I put that again, their head coach can only do so much. Their role players can only do so much. Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, like you've already seen the slander warm up. Like, don't validate the slander if you want this thing to end the way you want it to.
Like we said with the coach, though, there's got to be some urgency right now because you lose this. Like this is game 7 right here for you tomorrow. You lose this one, you're done. So there's got to be more timeouts. There's got to be more of a pulse on what's going on shot wise and all that stuff. Like it can't just be let the thing roll, let the ball roll out there and just let these guys do what they want. Like there has to be some urgency right now, and I trust that there will be. It's 3:30. You guys will have pregame, Kayla, over there on NBC.
Yeah, we'll have pregame an hour before, so 2:30. We'll have Abby Chin. She'll be live there. We'll be in our studio, so we won't be on the concourse because obviously it's not a home game. But tune in, NBC Sports Boston.
Love it. Love that we finally got you here on the show. We're hoping to have more of you here in the future. Thank you for stopping by. Law, as always, great talking to you, man. You can follow along with him, chat with him throughout these games. You got any more playoff coverage coming, man?
Man, you know it, man. Like I said, I'm watching all these games and trying to understand what team we're going to be copycatting or trying to dethrone. So, you got to pay attention to how these rounds go.
I'm interested to see what the Clippers do this summer too. So he'll have all that covered over there.
I am less interested, but I'm happy that is where you're at, Bobby.
We keep it 100 here.
All right. Thank you guys.
Thanks
Check out Prize
down,
Picks.
Bobby.
Yeah,
Thanks
no doubt. Show them some love. CLNS here. Use the code over there. If you want to go to the game tomorrow too, I'll give them a shout out anyway. CLNS for game time. $20 off your first ticket purchase over there as well. So go see what those seats are looking like. It's a scary sight, but they are available over there. And that's it for us here. Game 3 coverage tomorrow here live from New York. We'll be outside MSG pregame, I believe. talking to some fans, previewing the game, and then, of course, post-game, as always, here on CLNS Media right after the game, the Garden Report post-game show here on CLNS Media and Celtics All Access. Subscribe for all the player sound after the game. You know the deal. Get in the chat after, talk with us. It's a big, big night for this team tomorrow afternoon, which I'm very happy about. 3:30 start.
Oh, shoot. I just realized it's an afternoon game. Them jump shots is not coming back.
Oh.
Why you gotta end on that? And for all these Celtics fans in this group chat, I see all the Knicks fans here too.
I'm saying that for both teams.
Ooh.
You do not see teams play afternoon games, especially at Madison Square Garden. You do not see them jump shots looking like they do at night. That's for both teams. I'm just saying
It's a factor.
Know that, and understand what kind of game you're getting.
She's Caleb Burton. He's Law Murray. I'm Bobby Manning. We'll talk to you guys soon here. Peace.
No one's sneaking a vegan brownie by me, I'll tell you that.
Okay, you know what, John? We're gonna do it.
You have to feel that way too, Bobby.
I have to feel that way?
Let's fight Al over and make Luke your first center.
Bobby, we gave you Luke an hour early. We're not going to end this on a damn conversation about Luke